And welcome back to everyone on the rest of it and to another edition of NXT Out of 10. And yeah, today we finally see the NXT champion crowned after a few weeks of the belt being vacant. Obviously quite a lot of stuff going on in NXT in recent weeks with the departure of Ava. So yeah, maybe we get clarity on the show today. So let's get into it. And we did, because the show opened with Shawn Michaels telling Robert Stone he'd appointed as the new interim general manager of NXT. Not against that, to be honest. Maybe thought it'd be William Regal, but I think Stone's really impressed. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Before we went to the arena, the three women, Izzy Dane, Nola Vice and Tia Hale, are in the ring for the North American title bout. Once the introductions were done, they got into the match. Dane had the size and power advantage, so she took control of both competitors until they worked to take her down. All three women looked eager to make sure they were not overshadowed by the ladder match in the show. They followed a relatively standard form, with all given a chance to control and work each other over. Dane may have been the champ, but Vice and Hale had the best sequences. Each of the wrestlers had their strengths and weaknesses, and they were able to work well together to make it feel competitive. They always open with talking show these days, so yeah, it's a nice change of pace. Jordan showed up attacking Vice by smashing her hand with a ladder she found in the ring. This allowed Dane to hit a powerbomb on Hale to get the win. Kind of makes sense, builds up some other rivalry, keeps the title on Dane's hands. So yeah, I'll go at 6 out of 10. Tony D'Angelo then made his way to the ring with some dramatic new entrance music and lighting. It felt like a big change from his former gimmick. Tony said he had some things to get off his chest and asked for the house lights to be turned out so everyone could see. He listed his accomplishments and said he used to be a happy man with friends and family, but now he needs to find out who he is and he's back to punish Darkseid. A strong promo to establish his new character while still acknowledging his past. Having no interruptions also helped too. So yeah, not bad stuff. Before we moved on to Elias Flair versus Charlie Dempsey in the new Speed tournament, Flair was looking to rebound from his loss to Page in his debut by getting a win over Dempsey. They started by colliding when both men went for a crossbody, and that led into a fast-paced exchange that ended with hitting a moonsault to the floor. 3 minutes never seems like enough times for anyone to put on a great match, but these two did as well as anyone could under the restrictions. Everything they did looked good. The French Luke Shaw was able to score the win with just seconds to advance to the next round of the tournament. I'll go at 6 out of 10. Moving on into the Elegance brand versus Zarika for the TNA Knockouts titles. Zari and Sol were having some issues backstage before we got started, and Zaria started the team, but Rika tagged herself in less than a minute in, which upset the partner. The crowd were giving the Elegance brand a lot of heat thanks to the concierge annoying everyone at ringside. The challengers began having communication issues that allowed the chance to gain the upper hand and keep it through the break. Zaria had the change to tag to Rika a few times but refused. The tension had been building between Rika and Zaria for months, but this is the first time it felt like a breakup was a certainty. Zaria had clearly checked out the partnership, as they did a great job portraying that in this match. The fight itself was a standard tag match, but the storytelling took priority over everything else in a weird way. It almost felt like the defending champions were secondary to the story, with Rika falling apart. Zaria and Rika ended up shoving each other a few times before they hit simultaneous spears to their opponents. A moment later, Rika accidentally hit Zaria with a soul snatcher, which allowed Heather and them to finish her off for the victory. Overall, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It wasn't a bad match. I think it kind of makes sense, and obviously we've got an intriguing story to tell with Zurika too. Moving on into Chase versus Stax and Lexis King. The match got started as soon as the show returned. There was no entrance and no introductions. It was an abrupt way to start a match, but it probably helped save time too. Dixon had Stax reading until King kicked him from the apron. Connors got the hot tag and a flurry of quick moves before King wrecked him with a super kick. Dixon made a blind tag and Connors looked a little upset about it. King nailed a running elbow strike before hitting the coronation for the victory. It was short and predictable, but it had decent energy. Everyone was working hard, but they didn't have enough time to do anything of substance. When the match was over, Connor ditched Chase and left with King and Stax, meaning he has possibly joined their new group. So yeah, be intriguing to see where that goes. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Before Fatal Influence was in the ring after a break, so JC Jane could give a promo complaining about Rooker getting more attention than her in the Women's Rumble. Zaria came out to say she wanted a title shot, but Jane said there's little reason why Rooker gets more opportunities. Kendall Gray and Ren Sinclair joined their party. Zaria got into an argument with them before Rooker finally came out and said everyone wants a title shot, but at least Gray and Sinclair are still friends. Zone said his first act as interim GM is to book a tag match between Ren QC and Zurika, with whoever gets the pin earning a title shot at Jane. There's a lot of drama in this segment, didn't really lead anywhere, but I mean an intriguing announcement. We'll see where it goes. Before it was time for Keanu Carver, Ricky Starks, Joe Hendry, Dion Lennox, Shalina Hill, Shane Legacy, and Jackson Drake to battle it out to become who become the new NXT champ. All 7 men went from 0 to 60 as soon as the ref called the bell. They wasted no time making this a hard-fought contest by using the ladders as weapons immediately. Early, Hendry and Stacks emerged as their favourites. They brought the most experience to the ring, so they seemed like the safest picks. Hill and Carver are still trying to establish themselves, so it felt like their inclusion was a bit less about realistic and putting them against our high-profile stars. A lot of match with this many people is going to be chaotic, so the big challenge was making sure everyone shined. Thankfully, this battle allowed every competitor to have the spotlight at points. Hendry and Starks brought on top of the ladder, but the Scot was able to push him off the ladder and claim the belt and claim the victory. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, a good result this one. I'm so pleased for Joe Hendry and so excited to see what he can do with the belt. And I thought, yeah, like on the whole, it was a pretty decent match, and I'm excited about the reign of Hendry, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Overall, NXT this week gets a 6 out of 10 from me. It not only featured 3 title matches, but it also set up more for the future. Nothing we got on this week's show was bad. The only thing that really stood out was the main event. Hendry winning the title felt like the right call if he's not going to be called up anytime soon. All 7 competitors worked hard to make the match fun. Carver gave a memorable performance in his first big opportunity. While this show felt more or less the same, an absence definitely was felt with Ava's departure, which hopefully Robert Stone will be able to fill. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.